win that he calls his best of his career. What a great flashback. Just a year later, we're getting right into live action. Italo Ferreira, pipe champ back in 2019, had to win the final.
A lot of opportunities to not go on the biggest ones out there. Like, you could easily avoid them, and he wasn't. He was sending it. I was super impressed with Zeke. I always knew he was really gutsy and wanted it. And, there was a lot of people who, like, when Zeke got onto the invite list, they were like, I really haven't seen Zeke with like a 10-0 before. I haven't seen him out Waimea before, and this and that.
Get the approach to Seth Moniz here, Ross.
Very cool stance. You can see how narrow he got in the middle of his board. So I like that from Seth, showing a little bit of versatility in the barrel there as far as tube riding goes. Some of these smaller barrels, they get really pinched. You have to get sort of high. And I like the adjustment there from Seth. Pretty subtle. But again, a tricky little barrel. Over the sandbar, you're going to see a lot of different shaped barrels at pipe.
I just had a quick question for you, just on, with Italo. We've all seen how much energy that guy has. You watch him in surf sessions. He catches a million waves. How do you contain that energy as a coach?
And then back to live action. Seth pulling under the hood. Has some room for a moment. That one will shut down. But a cool way to position himself.
It's beautiful. The trade winds are back. It's one of those beautiful days in Hawaii. And
as we see Italo getting shut down on a fun-looking barrel on his forehand.
Like a beach break in Portugal, or even like a beach break in Brazil. Kind of wild and rowdy and kind of windswept peaks that were really more like a beach break. And today we have more of that typical backdoor pipeline, those like little wedges going through Ains. There's not really much sand on the reef at all at backdoor anymore. And you got that sort of like northwest crossed up swell giving those teepees, as Zeke said. For the three of us who've been out at pipeline a bunch of times, when you're in the spot and one of those teepees comes in, that excitement, like your heart rate goes up, you get really pumped up, and the bigger and more apexed out that teepee is that excitement level goes through the roof.
Such a cool breakdown as we see the vision from Larry Haynes in the water of Seth Moniz. As we're waiting for him to really open up now, Italo pulls into the first section. Nice quick make there, and he'll go into a wrapping cutback. And now hopping out the inside corner, Italo happy for another chance at a world title this year.
That's kind of the one thing you think about most when you see his surfing. He just got leaps and bounds of energy over all his competitors. He's just bouncing out of his skin. And he uses all those legends. They were like at age 30. I was like, oh yeah, they were expected to retire, and they did. And now, it's kind of the peak of your surfing is in your 30s. That's when you're mature, you're physically fit, you're making great decisions.
He just keeps going through the roof. It's one of the most fantastic shows to see on the championship tour.
Absolutely. And for these finals, as we see, he's going to squeeze through. Wow, he had close there. Imai waited a long time for that wave.
As we close this one out, heat number 5 is going to go to Seth Moniz as he moves to the round of 32 along with Italo Ferreira. Imaikalani.deVault will have to deal with the elimination round as his father, Tony Moniz, very proud of that performance, as we'll take a quick break.